According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the average cost of a nose job in the United States is around $7,637. However, this price just covers the surgery itself and does not include anesthesia, facility fees, and other related expenses. This is an influencer, Avery Cyrus, showing her process of getting the Botox. So her wrinkles beforehand, and it's really just her face being able to move. She doesn't have any wrinkles yet, but it's just her face being able to move and express herself. And her face is just slowly starting to freeze up, and she's not able to fully express herself in the ways that she was before. Pillow face, which is, once again, the filler adds volume to your face, and then when it starts to expand throughout your whole face starts to get puffy. Zac Efron, his face has gotten very puffy. We see this with Kylie Jenner. I can't remember this girl's name here on the left. Jennifer Aniston here on the bottom. Madonna on the top right. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Patchwork Podcast. So this week I wanted to talk about Gen Z's obsession with continuing to look young, and I want to be fully honest with this about, how it's affected me and how I have always had a fear of aging for as long as I can remember, honestly. I'm 23, so I am a part of Gen Z. I remember being in 7th grade and already thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be old enough to get rid of these freaking lines on my forehead. I've had Botox twice before, maybe 3 times, and I haven't had it in a pretty long time now, and here's why. First of all, I think there's a lot of beauty to naturally aging and just aging gracefully. It's something for other people where I can look at and acknowledge the beauty of them getting older and having smile lines and wrinkles, and it shows all of the years you've lived and the beautiful memories that you have. But for some reason, when it's to myself, I'm like freaking out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have lines on my forehead, I have smile lines, bags under my eye. I just start to get so worried about a lot of that stuff. I'm sleeping in wrinkle patches and eye patches and like this thing that goes around my face, down my jawline, mouth tape to also try to help with my jawline. I'm doing everything under the sun to try to prevent wrinkles because of how nervous I am of aging. Even though I'm trying to take a more natural route with it, it's still something that I'm very nervous about. And honestly, while at some point in my life I might decide to get Botox again, it is something I'm very glad that I'm not doing right now, especially while I'm so young. God created us just the way we are. We are designed to be this way. And I think that there's so much beauty in his creation and learning to love yourself the way you are, even as you continue to age and get older. And I'm not fully sure the ethics as a Christian of cosmetic procedures, because the Bible was written a really long time ago, so it doesn't have complete guidance for those kind of things. I more so want to make this to give people the full information about Botox and fillers and nose jobs and what they might not tell you when you go in for a procedure to get these things done. There's no judgment from me if you have decided to have a nose job or filler or Botox, because I completely understand that so much as someone that has had Botox and that has also had major fears of aging. There are some verses that I definitely look to when I start to think about beauty standards and how much I think about the way I look and my appearance to other people. And Proverbs 31:30 says, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." And I think that's also talking a lot about your inner beauty and not putting all of your focus on outward appearance. There's also Psalm 139:14 that says, "I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." And that is just talking about the beauty and the creation of humans and the artwork that we are. We are made in God's image, and that is a beautiful thing. And then there's 1 Peter 3:3-4. "Your beauty should not come from outward adornments, such as the braided hair and the wearing of gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight." Now, I don't think this is saying you can't wear gold jewelry or that you can't have nice clothes and things, but your beauty and your worth should not be found in those things. It should be found in Jesus, because that is a natural beauty that we have in Jesus. So first thing I want to talk about is nose jobs, which is also known as a rhinoplasty. It's one of the most popular types of cosmetic surgeries. Rhinoplasty reshapes your nose nose. This could be used for appearance, to fix medical problems, any problems with breathing, and it can correct the deviated septum, but more often than not, what I'm seeing is it's being used for cosmetic reasons. And also, to be clear, I totally understand if like your nose has always been one of those things where you're so self-conscious about, and it's just one of those things where like, I have to get this fixed. It's driving me crazy. I understand that so much, but I also think it's a wonderful thing to learn to love and appreciate your body and who you are, and the different shapes of your nose, or the size of your lips, or the color of your eyes, and all of those different things. For example, I have a more flat nose, and what is quote unquote in style right now is this sort of button nose. And I'm seeing basically every video I see of someone getting a nose job, it is them converting it to this button nose. And I also think that's important because everybody is starting to look the same. I don't know if you've heard of the phenomenon of like Instagram face, but everybody's starting to look the same. Like everyone has veneers, and suddenly everyone has the same shaped teeth, and nobody has lines on their face, and their faces are frozen, and everybody has the same little button nose. And there's a lot of beauty to us all looking very different and unique in our own ways. I don't want that to be lost as well, but I understand if you have something that really bothers you and it's always on your mind, it's driving you crazy, and you want to get like, no judgment there. I understand that. So I'm mainly talking about this for cosmetic reasons only in this little part of it. So when you're seeing the TikTok videos of people getting nose jobs, you are seeing a 30-second transition video of their nose being something that they don't like and they feel super self-conscious about, and then they go get the nose job, and it's every video I've seen, it's always the little button nose. But it's generally a year-long process of healing. About 3 to 4 weeks after you get the nose job, you have a good idea of what it's gonna look like. And then after about 6 weeks, the swelling is gone. And then after about a year, the final results start to emerge, and the structure of your nose fully settles in. So it's not these 30-second videos of you going to get your nose fixed and then it's now societally deemed perfect. And also keep in mind, this is generally an irreversible procedure. There's not going back after you do this. So if you go to get this done and you actually realize that you don't love the new nose that they've given you, there's not really anything you can do at that point. Most likely it's going to be like that for forever. According to the American Society of Plastic Surgeons, the average cost of a nose job in the United States is around $7,637. However, this price just covers the surgery itself and does not include anesthesia, facility fees, and other related expenses. So this is not a cheap procedure. This is a lot of money. So I wanted to just show some videos of kind of what I'm talking about. This is showing what their patient wanted, and then it's that button nose. This is there before. I don't see anything wrong with her nose. And then after, it's that button nose. So once again, this video though makes it look like you going for the procedure and then you walk out and you have a brand new nose, but there is a lot of bruising. There's a lot of tape and bandages around your eyes and nose for a good bit after. This is not an immediate procedure, and that's why these videos really bother me, because it's very deceiving, making it look like this is just a 30-second procedure and you're good to go after. Another nose job. This girl is beautiful. I think there's nothing wrong with her nose. I think that flat nose shape, it looks beautiful on her. So again, all those bandages and stuff. And then there's that little button nose at the end again. And one more video showing it's the flat nose again, very similar to the nose I have. And I see nothing wrong with these girls' noses. They all look super cute. And back to button nose. Once again, though, that video makes it look like it's a very quick transition and then you're just super happy and everything's great after it. And that's not the case. It takes a very long time for this to heal. So I would just encourage people to really do your research and understand what you're getting yourself into before you go and do these permanent procedures. So I think Gen Z has been impacted by the beauty industry more than any other generation in the past. And women in general, we very much are inclined to buy beauty products and get cosmetic surgeries and try to do anything and everything to continue looking young and beautiful. So I found a study that said in 2023, the average Gen Z person in the United States spent $2,048 per year on beauty products, according to Statistica. This is higher than the average for Gen Xers and baby boomers. It says that some of the key findings were Gen Z is highly engaged with beauty products, with 60% saying it's important to try new products. 57% of Gen Z are drawn to luxury beauty products, which is higher than the 48% of all consumers, which as someone that is Gen Z, beauty, I generally will spend a little bit more money on natural beauty products. I use beef tallow, the African soap, and I use this it's called natural Botox, but it's basically just like this serum that goes on your face and it's all natural stuff and it's supposed to help prevent wrinkles and fine lines. 57% of Gen Zers regret overspending on beauty. Most of Gen Z's beauty spending goes towards skin and hair care. Demand for beauty products has increased by 20% year over year, which is crazy. And I think that's obviously, this is not a profound statement to make, but it's because of social media. We are seeing all of these people online. It is constantly being infiltrated into our minds, all of these beautiful people. The thing is a lot of people lie about having cosmetic surgeries and work done, which I think if you are going to get a nose job, have Botox, have filler, be honest about it. Look, it's your private health, and if you don't want to share, that's fine. But I think at the same time, there's a lot of celebrities that completely deny having any kind of surgery or any kind of work done when it is very clear that is not the case. And here's the thing, as Gen Zers, remember all the things we've been mad about Gen Xers and baby boomers for handing down issues to our generations that we had nothing to do with, that they caused. Well, this is our chance to pass down things to Gen Beta and Gen Alpha that are positive traits, learning to actually love just your body naturally aging and getting a little bit older, and natural beauty, and not lying to all of these people online about the ways that we are continuing to make ourselves look the way that we look. So if you're getting Botox, I wouldn't sit there and deny it online and say that you just look like this naturally. If you're getting a nose job, I wouldn't sit there and lie about it online. You don't have to make a video showing your nose job and all of that stuff. But I think if people ask and you have a large following, I think it's fair to have to share that to those people, because people start to think everyone looks like this naturally, and why do I look this way? Well, it's because a lot of those people aren't real. They don't naturally look like that. And this is a side note, but I know many people have already seen the effect that this has had on 7 and 10-year-olds growing up now, with more knowledge of makeup than I will ever have in my life. And I've seen videos of them going to Sephora and buying all these insane beauty products and skincare products that they don't need. They're 7 and 10-year-olds. I don't even know how these kids know about Sephora. I mean, this is what I looked like at their age. It's not the cutest thing in the world. I mean, I'm outside playing my clarinet and but just being a happy kid, not caring what I look like. And that's what kids should have. They shouldn't be on their iPads and on TikTok all of the time. Also, all of these kids are dressing like they're 22 years old. Like, I see little kids in full-time influencer outfits. Like, they are dressed to the nines to go outside and play with their friends. If I ever have kids, social media will not even be a discussion until they are at least 16. So this is some of the videos of kids just with all of the beauty products. I mean, look at that. I've never had that many beauty products in my life. This is crazy. And this is a 5-year-old. She doesn't need any of this. One says those dang Sephora kids. I mean, it makes me sad, because these kids don't need that. They don't need to worry about that. They should worry about playing with their friends and going outside and getting muddy and playing with Barbies and just normal things that kids do. And now these kids are losing their childhood due to social media and feeling like they need to look a certain way, but they're beautiful just the way they are. They don't need all of these things. Now, talking about Botox. So once again, the reason that I haven't had Botox in a long time is because I'm trying to go more down the natural route and enjoy my natural beauty. I'm even trying to grow out my natural color hair, which definitely looks rough right now, but just, I'm sure I'm going to get blonde in my hair again at some point, all of that. But I'm just trying to enjoy my natural beauty right now and not care too much about all of the superficial things that I have cared about before. But no matter what you try to do, eventually everybody is going to age, and that is okay. And I understand wanting to age gracefully, but I mean, other than the Botox, I've never had filler or nose job or any of that stuff. But a lot of the videos that you are seeing online, there's filters, and there's a beauty filter on TikTok, the retouch filter, that'll just wipe out your fine lines and your breakouts and all of the little texture on your skin. So these videos you are seeing of people just looking absolutely flawless and so glowy, it's just not the case half the time. I mean, I put on the beauty filter because I'm like, oh my gosh, my breakout, this looks so bad. I get it, but it's just, you have to remember, it's not actually what people look like. But at some point, you're going to have to decide if you want to age naturally or go down the Botox, filler, pillow face, no lines route. And it's just, it's up to you. It's your choice, but you just have to make that decision for yourself. Do you want more of a natural beauty route, or do you want this like very frozen face where you can't even express yourself route? So let's look at what Botox actually does when it's in your skin so that people understand.
First, we must understand how wrinkles are formed. When our facial muscles contract, a chain reaction of neurotransmitters take place. Synaptic vesicles fuse with plasma membranes and specifically target snare proteins in the nerve terminal. Once this fusion occurs, muscle contraction is activated, thus causing wrinkles to appear in our facial expressions. Botulinum toxin, commonly known as Botox, is a type of polypeptide composed of a light and heavy chain. Once injected, Botox enters the synaptic vesicles and follows the same course of chain reactions to reach the nerve terminal. Once inside, the light chain of Botox breaks free from the plasma membrane and deactivates the snare protein from triggering muscle contraction. This causes temporary paralysis of facial muscles and prevent wrinkles to appear in our facial expressions.
I'm going to butcher how to say this, but Botox, also known as botulinum toxin, is a neurotoxin produced by bacterium Clostridium botulinum. It is used in small doses to temporarily paralyze your muscles. Some of the negative effects can be pain, swelling, bruising at the injection site, temporary drooping of your eyelids, headaches, muscle weakness, difficulty swallowing, vision problems, allergic reactions, uneven facial appearance, and in rare cases, breathing difficulties. I think this is important to know because I remember when I went in and got Botox, like none of this was spoken to me. I might have had some sort of, I'm sure I had a waiver I signed that had all of that in there that I didn't read, but I do think it's important to note, like I was not spoken to about this before it, but that's obviously on me if I signed something and I was not fully reading it, but I do think that's important to note. Also with getting Botox really young, it says, while there's no proven medical risk to getting Botox too young, most experts agree that starting Botox injections before visible wrinkles appear, usually in your mid to late 20s, is generally considered unnecessary and could be a waste of money. As your skin is still producing enough collagen to prevent significant lines, the main concern is potentially over-treating the muscles, causing an unnatural appearance later on when wrinkles really do start to develop. So I have a ton of videos I've pulled about people talking about Botox.
Actually wrote your thesis on Botox. We know there are medical uses for it. Right now it's being used for migraines, for example, and it can be very, very helpful. But the tox part of Botox is toxin. It's a toxin. And this toxin...
I have heard of a lot of people getting Botox for migraines and reasons like that, and that makes sense to me as well.
...acts by paralyzing your muscle. And when I kind of learned about it, you have to be very careful because if it gets into your bloodstream and it becomes systemic, it's affecting a lot of other nerve endings as well. It's not just doesn't just stay in your skin. And so, if you have a great detox capability, you're probably breaking it down fine. And most people probably have no issues, but there will be people who are affected by it systemically.
This is an influencer, Avery Cyrus, showing her process of getting the Botox. So her wrinkles beforehand. And it's really just her face being able to move. She doesn't have any wrinkles yet, but it's just her face being able to move and express herself. And her face is just slowly starting to freeze up and she's not able to fully express herself in the ways that she was before. This video made me so happy. This is a 35-year-old woman that is talking about why she wants to take a more natural beauty route.
I'm giving up Botox at some point. I'm thinking about it. I'm genuinely considering giving it up. I have been getting Botox since I was 23 years old, and I've made up a ton of excuses why I think it's totally fine. The reality is I definitely have some questions about it. Number one question, it does cross the blood-brain barrier, so how is it impacting my brain? I haven't really found any smoking guns. I have looked at experts pages. I've tried to find what is it doing? We still don't know. Who's doing that research? Yes, it's been FDA approved for 30 years for cosmetic purposes, but I don't know who's testing those women. What are the long-term studies? Number two, there are some studies that suggest if you have a lot of Botox and you have a baby or a child, your inability to express and emote because you're frozen can negatively impact the way they learn to express and emote. That's questionable. Number three, I'm 35 this month, and I don't want to look frozen, and I don't want to look fake, and I don't want to look like I'm trying to be 25, because I'm not. I want to be aging gracefully and look better than my age, but still my age. And I'm in this weird LA bubble where people's faces can look a little bit crazy, and I don't want to be that person who leaves LA and people are like, oh, that lady has had some work done.
And I think that was such a wonderful reasoning for her wanting to kind of slow down and maybe not get Botox, especially if you were thinking about having children and being a mother, not being able to fully emotionally connect with your child because your face is frozen and you cannot fully express your emotions. It's a really sad thing to think about. She had really wonderful understanding. Like, she's saying, I'm 35. I don't want to look like I'm trying to look 25. I'm 35 and I want to enjoy that and appreciate that. And I totally understand what she's saying. I want to age gracefully and beautifully, but I also don't want to look frozen and scary. I want to look good. And she's a beautiful woman, and you can be 35 and a beautiful woman. You can be 50 and a beautiful woman. You can age very naturally and gracefully. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you're going to be ugly. I understand that there is obviously, like with men being attracted to women, there's a general age that they are attracted to, and they are attracted to younger looking women, but that doesn't mean that you cannot still be a beautiful 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old woman. So this is a PSA to anyone getting Botox, it says.
I'm a member of a club that I never wanted to be in. I had been getting Botox for 10 years. I got my regular injections last August, and the next day, instantly, I knew something was wrong. I had weakness in all of my extremities. I had physiological, like, fight or flight, panic.
This is more so just to show you that there are times when getting Botox goes wrong. I know so many people get it, and for so many people, it's fine. But there are situations where it can affect you in a bad way.
Anxiety, debilitating brain fog. I had full body muscle spasms, like all of these issues. And finally, 6 months later, I spoke to this derm at Mount Sinai, and he had me send in like what the symptoms were, the timeline, the progression, and within 2 minutes he said that's textbook Botox poisoning. You know, for me it was really just time, and I did a lot of acupuncture, and those two things were kind of the only things that helped. But it was really quite shocking, and I think it just never gets reported. I had a girl on my podcast who it happened to, and she went to her injector, and her injector said, no way, it's the Botox. So it doesn't get reported.
And then this is one more girl talking about why she regretted getting Botox.
I'm so happy that my Botox is gone. And if you know me, you know that it's really weird that I got Botox. Like, that's really not something that I would do. I was just like, it's temporary. It's gonna last 3 months. I don't want my forehead wrinkles anymore. And I'm in the sun all the time.
And that's another thing. It's temporary, but it is very expensive. The 2 times I went in, it was probably $300 to get the Botox. I'm 23 and I had to spend already $300 to get the Botox. That is crazy. And you have to continuously keep up with it because it is not permanent.
I was like, well, I should just prevent this now. I was so unhappy that I could not express myself. I knew that that was gonna happen, but I thought I'd still like be able to express myself through other parts, but it just wasn't the same. I would still try to do that just because it was just like my instinctual face movements, and it would like come out weird. It would be like, I don't even know. I am thankful that I did get Botox because it made me appreciate things about myself that I didn't appreciate before, such as my wrinkles. I don't know who's appreciating those, but now when I can like express myself, I'm just happy that they are there because that's the way that I am. And that is like how I'm supposed to be able to move my face. 2 months into the Botox, it was like really kicking in strong, and I was like, I want this to go away so bad. And I would look at my friend, the way that she talks, how her face would just like move so expressively and like convey what she's feeling. And I would literally be like, I wish that I had my wrinkles back. Like, I wish that I could move my face that way, in the way that forms wrinkles, because that is how we're supposed to talk and how our face is supposed to move. It's just you. It's you, and that's how you are. Why did I want to change how I was? And I know that's like to a deeper level of things, like it's just wrinkles, it's not like change.
I hope this is a movement we start to see with Gen Z, where we start to reject the beauty standards of having to have Botox, filler, nose jobs, and we just start appreciating our natural beauty and being able to express ourselves and love ourselves for who we are. I hope that that is where this goes, because a lot of times I feel like what we see is when people as a generation go so radically one side, the pendulum always starts to swing back, and we start to see people go back the other way. And I think hopefully we're going to start seeing people go towards natural beauty products.
You are, but it felt like I didn't really feel like me for a little time period. I just couldn't like express myself. I don't know. So happy that it's back.
Seems like a very cool girl. I really like her already. I love that. She had a very a very great perspective on that. So now talking about filler. What filler does is it basically can add volume to your face. Filler fills in wrinkles, creases, hollows. It plumps up the skin and it starts restoring lost volume. Fillers can be used to enhance cheekbones, lips, jawline, and other facial features. It can also help correct skin depression such as scars and under eye bags, which I've always had like built into my face since I was a kid, very deep under eye bags, which I had makeup on and a light, so maybe it's hard to see right now. I've always had pretty plump lips, so I don't view myself ever getting lip filler unless, I do think as a lot of people get older, your lips start to get smaller. So I just, when people have an excessive amount of lip filler and it's very obvious and their lips are like, it doesn't look naturally beautiful. Like any day would prefer thin lips over that very fake look. And I also think as women, we're trying to look beautiful for our man, but I think a lot of men actually appreciate the natural look rather than a ton of Botox, a ton of filler, and nose jobs. They prefer natural beauty. And like I have also a huge scar right here, which once again it's kind of hard to see because I have makeup on and a lighting in here. But I got that in 7th grade because I ran into a light pole when I was driving like this little electric scooter thing, ran right into it. And I had to wear sunglasses to school for weeks. My whole face was puffy on this side and I have a scar right here. But I love it. I love scars. I love these things that are permanent on our skin. I have a mole on my stomach. I have so many scars and different marks all over my skin from different phases of my life. I have my one right here. I've got, wrinkle lines and eye bags. I have one on my neck that has an unfortunate appearance, but I've had it for about 8 years. I got it in early high school from burning my neck, but it's a funny story and it's a funny memory. And it's honestly just funny, like the shape it burned into. It literally burned in a straight line when I was straightening my hair. It was a long line and then I picked at it and made it worse. I have marks all over my skin from just different phases of my life and different things I've gone to, and I wouldn't change it for the world because that's who I am and those are memories built into my body from all of the different things I've experienced in my life, and I can appreciate them. So again, we are going to look at a video explaining what filler does.
That here is an MRI image of a 33-year-old patient who had over 12 cc, which is 12 syringes of hyaluronic acid filler injected to her face over the past 6 years. Now the area that is green is the hyaluronic acid filler. Now, what's interesting here is that when we did volumetric analysis, that means when we measured the amount of filler, the amount of volume that was there, it ended up being close to 28 cc, which is more than twice the amount of filler that was injected. And what this shows us is...
So this is just showing all of the filler that has expanded throughout her face because it doesn't just stay in one spot.
That hyaluronic acid fillers are hydrophilic. That means they love water and they also cause tissue expansion. So that's important to know. And over the next several videos, I'm going to explain what are the problems associated with these things. How do we treat them? And there is a lot of misconception about dissolving, and we'll address some of those issues and concerns.
Kind of what he's saying here though, and this leads to the pillow face, which is, once again, the filler adds volume to your face. And then when it starts to expand throughout your whole face starts to get puffy. And we see this with basically every celebrity in Hollywood as they start to get older and have had years of filler. We see this with Zac Efron. His face has gotten very puffy. We see this with Kylie Jenner. I can't remember this girl's name here on the left. Jennifer Aniston here on the bottom. Madonna on the top right. It's one of those things where it's going to happen. So if you're going to get filler, just know it does start to expand. And there are so many interesting videos of people talking about this, about how it expands, or when you dissolve, it can't differentiate between the filler and what is natural. And then you start to get these divots in your skin. I'm gonna show these videos because this is so interesting. But first, I will have this girl explain the pillow face phenomenon.
I've been saying for a really long time that this female obsession with cosmetic procedures shows that we're not in a good place, and finally people are acknowledging something's wrong because women don't really look like human beings anymore, and they're calling it pillow face. Pillow face refers to this new trend where hundreds of thousands of perfectly beautiful, healthy women, in trying to become even more beautiful, even more perfect, are literally disfiguring their faces with filler. And not only does filler never really dissolve, which causes pillow face, it also messes with the lymphatic system, which can cause cancer. So even though filler doesn't improve the way we look and it's also a risk to our lives, we women can't stop doing it. Because we've bought into the message that we women have an expiration date, and God forbid we show any signs of aging, we become completely irrelevant. So we will do anything to stop that from happening.
I also think part of a result of that is the red pill guys that are very much like, yeah, girls are only hot from 18 to 23 and then your expired milk after that. Like, be so for real. Why would you ever talk about women like that? I would never talk about men like that. I think there's such a beauty to aging and getting wrinkles, and I understand. Look, I'm not offended. I get it. There is this perception that, you know, as you start to get older, obviously you are not the girl that you once were when you were 18. You might have a little bit more of some marks on your face from the life that you've lived, but that's a beautiful thing. And I think even being married, you start to appreciate that more, is that you are growing older with a person that you love, that you've been with so long, that you do get to start to see wrinkles and little fine lines appear on their face. And that's a beautiful thing. It's not something that we need to look down upon.
Did you know there's a disturbing trend emerging among Hollywood celebrities called pillow face? Women are literally sacrificing their natural beauty for so-called perfection with fillers, basically leading to disfigured faces and health risks. The truth is, these fillers often don't dissolve properly, and the long-term impact on our health, especially potential risks to our lymphatic systems, is very alarming. But here's the good news.
Heard about needling. My sisters talked to me about that because I've heard it's a really great alternative to some of these things, and I'm definitely interested. I'm always so interested in the natural beauty routes. I also think there's so many things down to even the food that you are eating, and like a lot of times when I go into Sprouts, which is a super healthy foods grocery store, and I don't go in there all the time, but a lot of the people that are older look freaking phenomenal because they are eating like the best of the best food, very healthy food. A lot of the people me and my husband have talked to in there are on the carnivore diet as well, and they eat very healthy. They work out all the time. Like, there are natural things that you can do to continue being an attractive and healthy person.
You don't actually need fillers or Botox to look youthful. There are amazing alternatives in beauty treatments like needling or Sculptra that can enhance your natural beauty without the risks. And have you heard about NR supplements? By taking just 2 caps a day, you can literally reverse.
I don't know if this is an ad, and I also don't know if what she is saying is actually beneficial, so I just want to put that out there.
First signs of aging, like wrinkles, fine lines, and sagging skin. By the way, you can easily grab them on Amazon or...
Okay, that was definitely an ad, but I do think it's important to note that there are other natural remedies to aging rather than Botox and filler.
Oh my Gosling, what happened to our Ken? This is a classic case of Hollywood overfill, aka le pillow face. Not good. When you are putting filler in the face and you're putting it central here,
I'm actually terrified at what his face
down,
looks
makes
like
it
right
heavy.
now.
This is an aging look. When you put it laterally and it's lifting, that's an anti-aging look. That's what we want. Ryan, you're a beautiful man. Ease up on the filler.
Ease up on the filler, Ryan. This was interesting as well.
Now, mind you, a study came out now that fillers, it's not even a study, this is a fact, by the way. You guys can go Google this. Fillers don't dissolve over time. That is a lie that they sold you. Fillers migrate and expand over time. This is a fact. They did an MRI or a scan on someone. Babe, if you see what the fillers look like, that's why now you have the pillow face and the puff face and the whatever. This is a fact. And now if you point this out, you hate women. No, I love you. Go look decent, look human. You look like an alien. And I'm supposed to say, bravo, it's all in the name of women empowerment. If this is women empowerment, I want nothing to do with it. I would rather tell you, you look insane. You look insane.
She hit us with the tough love with that one, but that's a really good point. You start to look crazy and unreal. You are losing your natural beauty by trying to do all of these things outside of it to continue your natural beauty, but you are actually ruining it while you are doing that. So we are entering into this time of aesthetics where everybody on social media looks the same. Everyone has veneers, which I've always wanted veneers personally as well because I grind my teeth a lot at night and I wear my retainer every night and I'm scared and terrified of my teeth getting, But I don't love my teeth shape, but my husband does, so why does it matter? It is something I've always wanted, and I don't know if I'll ever look into it in the future or not, but it is important to point out. I saw a TikTok the other day that was talking about the generation before everybody had veneers. Everybody had teeth with their own personalities and their own character, and it helped shape their face in a beautiful way because it was different and it was unique. Everyone had different teeth. They weren't perfectly straight. They weren't perfectly shaped, and that's a wonderful thing. And I don't think everybody, and I understand there's health reasons and people do grind on their teeth and there's a reason people get veneers a lot of the time, but it's also okay to just accept your natural teeth and love your teeth the way that they are. And I'm trying to learn that there's a lot of beauty in not looking the same as everybody else. And I wanted to make this video to point out, the risk with getting all of these procedures, because a lot of times it is advertised on social media as this amazing thing. You can freeze aging and you can look young and hot forever. And it's just not that way. And it is something I will continue to struggle with for sure. And I think as women, we all do struggle with, not feeling beautiful enough or not feeling like we look young enough or smooth enough or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we are all going to age. I think it's a beautiful thing to choose to age naturally. And I just hope that this encourages people not to feel judged at all in this video, because you're welcome to do what you want. It's your own life. But just to take a step back and look at not only the medical risk and health risk of it, but also just to enjoy the beauty of nature, aging naturally and getting older and having memories that your skin holds. I think that's an amazing thing. So I hope that this helped people take a second look at cosmetic injections and surgeries and just have a second thought about it before you immediately go into the instant gratification of getting these things done. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for coming to the Patchwork Podcast.